Welcome everyone to Midwest Madness Monster Bash. I am your host Mitch Brown, and we've got 32 of the fastest monster trucks here tonight to try to become the champion. Nugget is still on top. He is still undefeated, 13-0 on the track, but he has 31 other trucks coming for him here tonight. Can he hold on? Find out next. Pit party's wrapping up. Safari Snake's about to give the last of the rides for the day. And let's take a look at the round one matchups here at Midwest Madness Monster Bash. Kicking off the first round, we got Cole Harwood and Bigfoot taking on Jordan Mullins and Jurassic Attack. Looked like Cole jumped her off the line, and that's going to be a close finish for the first race. What a race right there. I think Cole got it, but we're going back to the replay. Coming up next here in round one, we got Chad Legit and Tropical Thunder taking on Mike Council and the WCW Nitro Machine. Both drivers waiting on the green light. And another close race, but Chad Legit takes it through for the win. Looks like something happened there in the far lane for Mike Council. Truck shut down right before the finish line. Nonetheless, Chad Legit is moving on. Coming up next, we got Chase Moyes in the backdraft taking on Jeffrey Skipper in the U.S. Air Force Afterburner. Both drivers waiting on the green light. And it looked like Chase jumped him off the line, but Jeffrey Skipper comes back in the end. He will be your winner. Coming up next here in round one, we got Krista Roberts, the Sassy Southern Belle, out of Wild West Racing, driving the Scarlet Bandit, taking on Rich Wagner in Wild Hair. And a good close race right there, but Rich Wagner had just a little bit more. Coming up next, we got Joshua Wells out of Wells Motorsports and the Superman, taking on Savvy Zoology and the Black Pearl. Looked like Josh jumped her off the line, but Savvy, with the foot on the pedal, takes it through for the win. Coming up next here in round one, we got Steve Jones out of Team MTA and the Carolina Crusher, taking on Violet Craddock and Monster Mutt Ice. And if for whatever reason you're tuning in to me before Steve Jones and Monster Truck Attitude, I definitely recommend you get over there and check him out every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time for Thursday Night Thunder. But nonetheless, let's see if he can win the race here. Waiting on the green light. Close race. Violet Craddock turns it over there in the far lane, but Steve Jones takes it through for the win. Wow, they were dead even there before the finish. Coming up next, we got Lewis Thompson IV in Wolverine, taking on Peanut in Maximum Destruction. Let's see, you can move on to round 2, waiting on the green light. And dead even off the line. Peanut gets caught up on the bus stack. Lewis takes it just a little bit further. He will be your winner. Coming up next, we got Ethan Legit in Thunder 4x4. Taking on Brian Prazak out of Outlaw Motorsports and Monster Patrol. Let's see who can take it to round 2. Looked like Brian jumped him off the line just a little bit, but gets caught up on the bus stack there. Ethan moving on. What an upset. Coming up next, we got Jason Craddock and El Toro Loco taking on Bradley Graham, Mr. Outlaw out of Outlaw Motorsports in Clydesdale. And if you haven't checked him out yet, he's over there on Diecast Monster Truck Outlaws on Facebook and YouTube. He does awesome races and has great content. But nonetheless, let's see if he can win the race here. Jason's trying to take him out, waiting on the green light. Dead even off the line, Bradley Graham flips over in the far lane. Jason Craddock takes it through for the win. Up next, we got Justin Lamb and Blacksmith taking on James Valencourt and Equalizer out of K&J Motorsports. These guys met last month at High Stakes with Justin Lamb barely taking the win. He's looking to make it 2-0 against James here. Waiting on the green light. And Justin Lamb gets into the wall again, but this time will not cross the finish line. James Valencourt moving on. Coming up next, we got Emily Graham, Mrs. Outlaw, out of Outlaw Motorsports, driving the Dodge Barefoot. But she's set to take on newcomer Rudy Zilligy and the Storm Damage. Both drivers waiting on the green light. Even down the line, and Rudy rolls it over there in the far lane. Emily Graham making it barely just a little bit further. She'll be the winner. Barefoot is moving on. Tough luck for Rudy over there. Heading down to the track, Midwest Madness track crews down here to flip the Storm Damage back over. Rudy was giving it all he had to keep up with Barefoot there, but popped a wheelie on the bus stack and rolled it over. He is out of competition for the rest of the night. He seems to be doing all right, but the truck, I don't think is. Wow. Look at the damage to the Storm Damage. Coming up next, we got Hunter Craddock and Bulldozer taking on the Gunslinger, Roland Cantwell out of Wild West Racing, driving the Iron Outlaw. Let's see who can move on to round 2. And a super close race. Both trucks get caught up on the bus stack, but Hunter makes it barely just a little bit further. Wow. Coming up next, we got Jalen Buford and USA 1 out of Outlaw Motorsports, taking on Austin Wagner and Earthshaker. Both drivers waiting on the green light. Austin jumped him off the line, but Jalen came back in the end. Jalen Buford taking the win. Coming up next here in round one, we got Ethan Wagner and Lumberjack taking on Matt Cheever and Gravedigger the Legend. Let's see which driver can take it to round two. Even off the line, Matt Cheever loses the body. Ethan Wagner rolls it over at the finish line. Lumberjack will be your winner. What a race. Heading down to the track, Midwest Madness track crew's down here to flip the Lumberjack back over. He got the win, but at what cost? It was a tough race there with Matt Cheever and Gravedigger the Legend. Definitely a wild race, but nonetheless, Lumberjack is moving on. If he can get the truck back, looks like just body damage. Coming up next, we got Tim Cantwell, the cowboy from hell out of Wild West Racing, driving the Bounty Hunter. Set to take on Carson Wells out of Wells Motorsports, driving Son of a Digger. See which driver can advance to round two. And Tim jumped him off the line. It's going to be a close race right there, but I think he got it. Going back to the replay. Coming up next to round out round one, we got Raylan Mullins and Medusa taking on three-time undefeated Midwest Madness champion Nugget and Gravedigger. He has won 13 straight races here, looking to make it 14, which is a record. Waiting on the green light. Nugget jumps her off the line and takes it through over the bus stack and all. Raylan Mullins gets crossed up there in no man's land. Nugget is moving on, 14-0. Kicking off round two, we got Cole Harwood and Bigfoot taking on Chad Legit and Tropical Thunder. Let's see who can take it to round three, waiting on the green light. Chad jumped him off the line, but flips it over there in the far lane. Cole Harwood takes it through for the win. Bigfoot is moving on. Coming up next, we got Jeffrey Skipper and the U.S. Air Force Afterburner taking on Rich Wagner, driving Wild Hair. Let's see which truck and driver can move on to round three, waiting on the green light. Looked like Rich jumped him off the line a little bit and will take it through for the win. Coming up next, we got Steve Jones out of Team MTA driving the Carolina Crusher. And like I said earlier, he is the Diecast GOAT and the reason all this is happening. But he is taking on Savvy Zoology driving the Black Pearl. Let's see who can take it to round three, waiting on the green light. Even off the line, and Steve Jones rolls it over on the bus stack. Savvy Zoology gets crossed up in no man's land. Nonetheless, Steve Jones moving on. Coming up next here in round two, we got Ethan Legit driving the Thunder 4x4. Taking on Lewis Thompson IV, driving Wolverine. Both drivers waiting on the green light. Even off the line, But Ethan Legit and Thunder 4x4 get caught up on the bus stack. Wolverine is moving on. Coming up next, we got James Valencourt out of K&J Motorsports driving Equalizer. Set to take on Jason Craddock driving El Toro Loco. So you can move on to round 3. Looked like Jason jumped him off the line, but James Valencourt and Equalizer comes back in the end. Equalizer is moving on. Coming up next, we got Emily Graham out of Outlaw Motorsports, Mrs. Outlaw, in the Dodge Barefoot. Set to take on Hunter Craddock and Bulldozer. Both drivers waiting on the green light. Looked like Emily jumped him off the line. That's going to be a close race right there. I think Bulldozer took the win, but we'll see. Coming up next, we got Jalen Buford out of Outlaw Motorsports driving the USA 1. Set to take on Ethan Wagner and Lumberjack. And as you see, his team has that truck back to the line. They're feeling confident. Looks like it's just some body damage, but we're going to see. Waiting on the green light. And an even race across the line. Both trucks roll it over. Jalen Buford and USA 1 will be your winner. Rounding out the second round, we got Nugget and Gravedigger, 14-0 on the track, 3-time Midwest Madness champion. Taking on Tim Cantwell out of Wild West Racing, the Cowboy from Hell, driving the Bounty Hunter. Now let's see if Tim can do the unthinkable or if Nugget can keep the streak alive. Waiting on the green light. Even down the stretch, and wow, did Nugget come back in the end or did Tim win the race? Going back to the replay, that was close. Kicking off the third round, we got Cole Harwood and Bigfoot taking on Rich Wagner and Wild Hair. Both drivers looking to take it to the semis. Waiting on the green light. Even off the line, and Cole Harwood flips it over there in the near lane. Rich Wagner and Wild Hair is moving to the semis. Coming up next, we got Lewis Thompson IV driving the Wolverine, taking on Steve Jones driving Carolina Crusher out of Team MTA. Both drivers waiting on the green light. Looked like Lewis jumped him off the line there, and Steve Jones came back in the end. Carolina Crusher is moving on. That was a good race right there. Lewis Thompson was hanging right there with him, door handle to door handle. Coming up next, we got James Valencourt out of K&J Motorsports driving the Equalizer, taking on Hunter Craddock and Bulldozer. Both drivers have looked good all night, but only one can advance to the semis. Waiting on the green light. Even off the line, and Hunter rolls it over there in the far lane. That was a pretty nasty rollover in no man's land. Equalizer is moving on to the next round. Heading down to the track crew's down here to flip over the bulldozer. He was giving everything he had to chase down the equalizer, but got kind of squirrely at the end of the ramp and completely lost control in no man's land. And I'm sure there's a lot of damage done to the bulldozer, but nonetheless, wow. Look at that. They are out of competition for the rest of the night. Rounding out the third round, we got three-time defending champion here at Midwest Madness, 15-0 on the track. That is Nugget and Gravedigger. Set to take on Jalen Buford out of Outlaw Motorsports, driving the USA 1. Let's see if Jalen can do the unthinkable or if Nugget can keep this going. Waiting on the green light. And even off the line, and Nugget gets caught up on the bus stack there. Jalen Buford does it. He is the first to beat Gravedigger here on the track. There will be a new champion. USA 1 is moving on. Kicking off the semifinals, we got Rich Wagner and Wildhair taking on Steve Jones out of Team MTA, driving the Carolina Crusher. Both these guys have looked great all night long, but only one can advance to the finals. Waiting on the green light. And even off the line, and wow, Rich Wagner and Wildhair comes back in the end. He will be your winner. Steve Jones was hanging right there with him, but didn't have enough. Wildhair is moving on. Closing out the semifinals, we got James Valancourt out of K&J Motorsports driving the Equalizer. Set to take on Jalen Buford out of Outlaw Motorsports driving USA 1. Both these guys have looked great all night long, but only one can join Wildhair in the finals. Waiting on the green light. Looked like Jay jumped him off the line. It's going to be a close race, and USA 1 is moving on to the finals. Equalizer was giving him everything he could handle, but USA 1 is moving on. It is finals time here at Midwest Madness Monster Bash. It all comes down to this. We got Rich Wagner and Wildhair taking on Jalen Buford out of Outlaw Motorsports driving the USA 1. Both these guys have looked great all night long, but only one can be the champion. Who is going to be the second champion here at Midwest Madness? Because as you saw earlier, Nugget lost the flag. There will be a new champion. Who's it going to be? Waiting on the green light. Even off the line, and Jalen Buford takes it through for the win. That was so close, but USA 1 is the new Midwest Madness champion. The Monster Bash champion here at Midwest Madness. Thank you everyone for coming out and watching Midwest Madness Monster Bash. Congratulations to the new Midwest Madness champion, Jalen Buford in the USA 1. And we will see you next time for Midwest Madness Summer Showdown, August 6th. Please like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.